Volkswagen of America, business case analysis for Group 3. On behalf of Tracy Kahn, John Four, and Jeff Lohman, I'm Greg Deckard. These are the key issues we'll be addressing, and I'll read those as we progress. Issue 1 is how can VW Germany funds from the German headquarters be used more effectively to meet Volkswagen of America goals. The important facts are listed below for you. The alternative courses of actions for issue 1 are listed below, and we'll address those as we progress. The first COA is to fund at least one project in each business unit that has a solid potential for ROI, and require each business unit to use any money saved or earned as a result of the project to be earmarked for future IT projects. One of the pros is that no business unit would be excluded entirely from receiving funds for IT projects, and a con would be that it could take money from a more important or potentially mission-critical project just for the sake of equality. Another COA would be to establish a process to transfer ownership of any project proposals from VW of America that have a global scope to the German headquarters for review and action on their part. A pro would be that this would establish central governance of corporate IT projects that have a global scope, and a con is that it could result in a reduction of funding for Volkswagen of America if in the future the German office determines that projects with a global scope should receive funding priority. Another COA is to make budget allocation decisions for infrastructure projects, enterprise projects, and business unit projects after business unit project proposals are prioritized and funding requirements are calculated. A pro is that this would help to ensure that more mission-critical projects have an opportunity to receive funding, and a con is that it does not guarantee a more effective distribution of funding for any budget area. What we recommended for this one are two of the COAs. The first one is to transfer the ownership of globally scoped projects to the German headquarters for their review, their action, and for them to fund that. And the other one is to make those budget allocation decisions after everything has been analyzed, reviewed, and prioritized. Our next issue is how to modify the project prioritization and selection process to better serve Volkswagen of America departments and business strategy as a whole. The important facts are listed below for you. The alternative courses of action are listed here, and we'll address each one individually. The first one is to diversify the selection of the highest ranking business unit projects across goal portfolios by expanding the final selection criteria to include factors other than goal portfolio ranking. A pro would be that goal areas will not be neglected simply because they are lower in ranking, and a con would be that it could result in a loss of focus from the highest ranking goal areas. Another COA is to make budget allocation decisions after the funding requirements are calculated, and a pro here would be that it enables management to make more informed budget decisions, and a con is that it could create a bureaucratic tug-of-war between goal areas. Another COA is to have all IT infrastructure and enterprise projects put through the same selection process as business unit projects. A pro is that it would remove biased financial constraint as an imposed limit over only one project area. And a con is that it creates a need for a new rubric of criteria to rank business unit projects against infrastructure and enterprise projects. Another COA is to create an exception handling process. A pro is that it may strengthen working relationships between business units and management. And a con could be that It creates a potentially labor and paperwork intensive process. There were 2 COAs recommended for this one. The first one is to diversify the selection of the highest ranking business unit projects across goal portfolios by expanding the final selection criteria to include factors other than goal portfolio ranking, supporting information below, and to create an exception handling process with strict regulations, supporting information below. Issue 3 is, how can Volkswagen of America help reverse the pervasive notion that IT is an obstacle? The important facts are listed there for you. The alternative COAs are listed here, and we'll address each one individually. The first COA is to explain Volkswagen of America's historic survival mode spending choices to the members of the ELT, emphasizing why substantial investment in IT infrastructure is critical and urgently needed. A pro is that the ELT will be brought up to date as to what the current IT situation is. A con is that the ELT may not view the IT infrastructure as a viable entity due to failed progressions in the past. Another COA is to encourage communication and collaboration between business units and the IT department. A pro would be that communication would foster a change in the way business units regard the IT department's ability, benevolence, and integrity, greater trust. A con is that business unit involvement could become overwhelming for the IT department, undermining innovation desired in the IT department and the positive relationship between IT and business units. Possibility that potential customers may perceive a lack of mid-range options. There's a copy and paste error. And we'll move on to the next one. With this one, we will make the project selection process more transparent for all employees of Volkswagen of America. A pro would be that this reduces likelihood that employees will second guess the process and or decisions made in the process. A con is that it could incite resentment across IT departments if projects are passed over. We again recommended 2 COAs for this one. The first one is to explain that historic survival mode so that the ELT has a more honest and accurate assessment of the IT infrastructure and why it could potentially be lacking. And the other one is to make that selection process transparent for all employees of Volkswagen of America,